Well, no mai, haere mai, kia ora, fellow classmates from Stream. Hope you've had an awesome weekend. It's been a bit drizzly and wet and rainy here in Lower Hutt in Wellington, but good way to finish off the weekend. As we say, a massive bula vanaka to the one and only man we call Fiji, the man himself, Greg Thoms. Kia ora, Fiji. How are you, brother?
Yeah, bula vanaka, huge. I am stoked to be here, man. It's a thrill. Like I said earlier, thanks for all the mahi, getting all this organised, mate. Really appreciate it, and I'm not the only one for sure.
Well, listen, man, I haven't seen you since school, and I just have the fondest memories of you, bro. Such a great guy, such a great all-rounder. I mean, where do I start? Funny guy. Was good on the books, good with academics, a great rugby player. Someone mentioned you the other day with old Paddy's Mile. So, you really were the good all-rounder and just all-round good guy. But before I start the questions, I had a text earlier on. People have been hanging out to seeing your video and hearing from you. And in particular, one beast, Damien Curtis, he's like, when's Greg coming on? Where's Greg coming on? So before we start, have you got a little message, a little shout out to Beast?
Shit, man. Old Curtis, hey? Look, absolutely, George. I know I said we'd get this done earlier, right? I caught up with Jabba today, so things kind of got reprioritized. I know you had a few things to do yourself, right? But, we're here, we're getting this done. Funny enough, Curtis is actually, when I was thinking about the other people's answers, Curtis is one of those guys I've been dying to see his own video, and I haven't got into it yet. Man, this guy is swish. I think I saw him in his school uniform even. He still fits his bloody school uniform, man. So I can't wait to see his video as well and actually see what he's up to. Yeah, definitely.
Well, you won't be disappointed. He looks exactly the same. I thought he was checking in for third form. Just quietly. He looks amazing. So I look forward to that. Well, look, let's get straight into it, Fee. Like I say, great to see you. Recap your years for us at Stream. How did you end up coming to Stream? How many years did you end up doing at Stream? And of course, you were a boarder. Can you remember your first thoughts of boarding or your boarding bay or mates that were around you? Take us back.
Yeah, man. So look, I was there for the entire period, right? 89 to 93. Some things are just, etched in my mind and I'll never forget it. But the original question is, how did I actually get there in the first place? For me, I was a Maris boy through and through. Our family was very strong in the church in Fiji. And I remember coming home from school one day, and my parents had this pack of this school called St. Patrick's College Silverstream, and they asked me if I would be interested. And I had to go through the pack, and I was just blown away by this college that looked so awesome, man. And it had things that I'd never even dreamt of, swimming, boarding, friggin' school canteen and kitchen and all these things, man. So I had to go through the book and choose all my subjects and sent it off. And it wasn't for a good 5, 6, 7 months before my parents actually came to me and said that pack your bags, mate. You're off to New Zealand and you're going to Silverstream. But the thing is, my first day there was just such a weird experience. My mum brought me over to New Zealand and took me to Redwood, took me upstairs. I think Bede was in his office or something like that, and he told me what bay I was in. I can't even remember what bay of all things, but my mum said, okay, I'll see you now, and she left me then and there, got in the car and was back home to Fiji, and that was my introduction to boarding school, right? But mate, I loved it from then on. So there's memories of things that I didn't come in with a cohort like a lot of you guys, right? So I didn't come in with growing up with the primary school to intermediate and then to secondary school with like what you guys would have experienced yourselves. It was just me, and I took a few years to settle in. I think personally, third, fourth form, I kept mostly to myself and into the books. But again, when I think about the first day and the quad and the ranks sort of system, I had no idea about these sorts of things. So, I'm brushing my teeth, the bell goes, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit weird. School doesn't start till half an hour away. I come out, everybody's gone from the whole dorm. And it's just me by myself going, what on earth is happening? So I go to the classes, and then there's no one there. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird. Is this a big prank or something like that? And I finally figured out that everybody's in this quad having a ranks sort of thing. So at least I learned pretty quickly every day when the bell goes, go to the quad and sign up, stand in line just like everyone else. So yeah, that's my first day. Stuck in my memory from then on, right?
Wow, what an amazing memory you've got there for of your first time, because we got to remember, totally different kettle of fish for you, whole new country, whole new everything. So wow, man, I can only imagine, we could only imagine what it was like for you.
Yeah. So I'll give you some more, right? Something as simple as, I grew up with no TV, right? And so I come to New Zealand and I see this thing with live pictures, and it's a fucking TV, man. And I just had no concept about this sort of stuff, right? In the computer labs, I don't know if you remember the computer lab on in our third form was on the bottom room facing the quad. I think it was. There was a limited number of computers set up there in the computer lab. And I was blown away by this thing, man. I was like, what on earth is this? And you could program it, and you could, play games on it, and all these sorts of things. And I remember, I think it was Callum Ferguson, of all people, was pretty smart on the computer, and he showed me a few trips there to, do some programming and get it to do some smarts for you. And from then on, I just started, going back to the computer room as much as I could. But little things like that you guys probably took for granted, for me was just an eye opener. I remember my first earthquake, right? So something as simple as that, the building shaking, and I'm going, what on earth is happening here, right? I'm just about packing myself from the building shaking, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it's an earthquake. I'm like, never had one of those before. Yeah, wow. Little things like that, mate.
Yeah. Now, you just touched on your family and what awesome support and faith that they gave you sending you over here to New Zealand. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that mum's recently passed?
Yeah, unfortunately, mum, she fought cancer twice, actually. So the first time was breast cancer a year ago. We managed to get her treated, and she got over that quite well, actually. So we're really stoked with that. But unfortunately, 6 weeks ago, pneumonia. Mum had pneumonia, but turns out it was actually really serious lung cancer and thyroid throat cancer. And unfortunately, she passed away really quickly within a space of 4 weeks. So it was again another interesting experience during this time of COVID. Technology like you and I are doing right now, and video calling. We all got to spend the last 4 weeks with her via video and chatting to her as she moved through the palliative to the end of life sort of stages. And that's something that I'll always cherish as well. It's just, whilst I couldn't have been there, technology these days is a godsend, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Look, just on that, from all of us, all our thoughts and aroha with you, bro, and may your mum rest in peace upstairs with the angels.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, what did you do your first year out of stream?
Yeah, so I actually went back home for a year. So I obviously just been at boarding school for 5 years. I actually wanted to go home, and I wanted to just spend some time with my family. So I went home. I went home for a year and a bit, and then I decided to come back to New Zealand and go to varsity. I'll just expand a bit more, mate. I'll go wherever this conversation takes us. So I came back and caught up with all the boys here in Wellington at Vic. Pretty if you think back to my college years, where my third, fourth form were all about the books. My fifth, sixth, and seventh form, I really had lost the will to live academically, sort of thing. But varsity was a different ball game for me. I did actually enjoy it. I got through to second and third year before I decided that I want to take another break. But just living with the boys, flatting with the boys, whether it's High Tai or Karori. I think we ended up in Newtown at one stage there. Just really enjoying that time of my life. A good 3 years period there.
Good. Now, you were a wonderful rugby player at Stream, particularly in your later years at school. Did you end up playing any club rugby or any other rugby at all post school?
Yeah, totally. So, I think if I think of my sporting sort of background or achievements, it was totally the inverse of my academic sort of thing, right? Third form, fourth form, I lived in the B teams, and that was really cool. Actually, it was really, really great experience. But it wasn't until maybe the fifth form and sixth form where things started to click for me, sporting wise, right? And
boy, did they click!
Yeah, exactly, right. So the Colts to the seconds to the first was really quick and sudden for me. But I absolutely enjoyed it when I got that opportunity. Someone mentioned, I'll just go back. Someone mentioned the paddys mile, right? These moments just live with people for forever and a day. And for me, I think I was in the last group that went, but I'd already studied the course and I'd already studied everyone before me. And I knew that if I was in certain places at certain times, I was in with a shot. And I came down that home stretch in front of Redwood, and I knew I had about 30 seconds up my sleeve, and I said, I've got this. And I did, and that was really awesome. But what people might not know is I did it in bare feet. And so, that was on top of actually winning it. That was really cool. Again, just when I think back and go, I don't know if anyone else has ever done it in bare feet, mate, but I did first time, and I managed to smash it.
Paying a bit of homage back to the homeland.
Boom, man! Yeah, totally. But my feet were wrecked, man. Because the change in gravel and stones and tile and concrete, it was pretty harsh. But I was quite stoked after that.
Yeah.
But you asked about rugby, right?
Yep.
So when I came back, I caught up with the boys at Huddle Boys Marist, I think it was at that stage, and we had a pretty decent team there. I think Lee coached us that particular year, if I remember correctly. So really decent team, and that was pretty cool. I had a couple of stints at Varsity Old Boys. I think it was either the Teddy Bears or the 69ers. I can't remember which one exactly. But awesome times. And when I moved to the King Country, I continued playing up there, senior A's up there, which again was a fantastic experience. And of all people to play against, we travelled down to Udaku Pirates, mate, and lo and behold, there's Coogan and Brycey, and I think Justin was there as well on the opposing team. So small world, mate. There they are playing against you after all those years again. So that was actually another awesome experience. So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool, Feach. That's cool. You also mentioned in that little chat, Jake Smith's dad, Lee, who's also just not far ago passed away. So he'll be upstairs having a chat to your mum about your rugby days for sure.
Yeah, totally, man. And definitely. We, as always, we pass on our own condolences to Jake and his team for the loss of his dad.
Yeah, absolutely. Good man. All right. Work. What do you do now for a job, and what have you been doing over the past 28 years for work?
Yeah. I think when I think back, over the last 20 years. You know, one thing that's always stuck with me, and I referred to it earlier, the computer labs at school, right? I've always had an interest in technology since then, and programming. And I've managed to sort of, over the years, stumble my way into data type roles, looking after big data sets and doing some analysis on those, and management sort of metrics and stuff out of the back of those. But formally qualified through Victoria University. In the end, I went back and completed my studies, and from that combination of data and my formal qualifications, I got into what's called operational risk and compliance sort of space, and working for the banks actually. So started with ANZ and currently with Kiwi Bank. Been there, you know, in this sort of space for the last 10, 15 years now, and really enjoying it. It makes a change from, you know, I thought with my initial sort of schooling years, I'd end up in accounting or something like that, accounting or economics. But I'm glad with where I ended up in the comp finance area.
Good on you, Fish. It sounds like you are enjoying it. And is your current role with Kiwi Bank, is it based in Wellington?
It sure is. So my partner Kylie and I, we live in the city itself, Central City. We've got an apartment there. And yeah, look, we love it. Our little shoebox size apartment with our little dog at the moment. Yeah, and you know, it's pretty easy. Apart from when the ground shakes, we love it.
Oh wow, good on you. Now, good segue there. Tell us a little bit about your partner. I'm not sure. Are you married? Do you have children? What's your relationship? What are you up to these days?
So Kylie and I are engaged. We've been engaged for a little while now.
Hey, congratulations!
And no children between us of our own. But I do have 3 kids myself with my ex. So 2 boys and a little girl. Both my boys went to St. Pat's. So Jack and Henry ended up at St. Pat's Town. You know, no matter how much I tried to convince them, they weren't going to stream at all. They're definitely town boys through and through. But that's pretty cool. You know, it's still 4th generation St. Pat's for our family. So it didn't matter really whether it was town or stream. They loved the whole Dooley boy environment, and it was always interesting, you know, taking the kids to cricket when they'd play St. Pat's Silverstream, and the Townie boys would lose, and I'd be secretly happy, but trying to console them at the same time. But yeah, no, it's great. They definitely enjoyed their time at town. Yeah, Henry's still there, and Jack's finished up. So yeah.
Well, Henry might be getting some great counselling advice from Mr. Philly.
Yeah, damn right, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, here's a big one for you. I know, look, you've probably got heaps. I've got heaps of fond memories of you, Feej. But for you, have you got anything in particular that stands out from your time at Silverstream? Could be anything that you might want to share with the boys.
Yeah, look, I think we'll all be the same, right? You know, there'll be stories just about every day. We could stitch them together and tell the entire 5 years if we got together and tried to do something like that. Just reflecting on some of the other conversations first, you know, I think it was Soggy was talking about how influential Duffy was on him through some of the tough times for himself. The equivalent for me would probably be Father Cummings. Actually, I really connected with Cummings. I don't know what it was, but he was definitely the person who I would go and have my chats with. Look, he didn't hold back when he came me anyway. It still hurt a bugger, but it was great. That was probably the side on the Mara side who I could go to. But in terms of specific teachers, you know, I remember Ellis very well, taking time out to help us who were struggling with particular topics, and coming in and holding extra sessions for everybody. But definitely the other one would be Pope. I think he probably had a bigger influence in my later years, my sixth and seventh form, both academic and sporting. I think he was a bigger influence in the later period for me. So from a teaching side, it would be those two. But on the I guess student side, man, there's so many stories that you could go into, right? But there's probably one I will never forget, involving Richie Murphy. And apologies if this has already been said because I haven't gotten through all the videos. But we're down at the creek, and there's probably a good 30 or 40 of us down there. And I don't know why we're down there, but he's going to throw Scotty J in the creek. And he asks about face, misses Scotty J, and in slow motion, he's sliding down the bank into the creek himself. And everybody just sees this happening, and he's thudding down, he's disappearing, and we're just pissing ourselves. Like we can't do anything but laugh, right? And he gets out of that creek and he is mad as anything. And he wants to get a hold of someone, doesn't matter who, anyone, to get sort of revenge on people. And we just scatter. Like you wouldn't believe it. There's 40 kids just going boof. But we're still pissing ourselves trying to run away from this guy. And I remember, he's going to catch me because he's a quick bugger, right? He's not slow anyway. And thank God he never got anyone, man, because we would have been in trouble. But there's probably, I don't know how this guy did it. I don't know how Scotty J got away. I'm pretty certain it was Scotty J. But to see this big unit just ass up and go in by himself was just brought tears, man. Just brought tears, yeah.
I'm just picturing the big fella from Tonga in slow motion.
Yeah.
Hey, Muffy, you're watching this. I know Brother Muffy's going to be watching this. You can remember this, and Scotty J will be watching this too. And I really, what a wonderful memory you just brought up. And also too, the fact that you mentioned Father Bart Cummings. Absolutely, because he, as I remember too, in our time as stream, ended up going down to St. Bede's and eventually becoming the rector down there. But yeah,
correct.
That's a big name you brought up there too. That's awesome.
Totally, man. Totally, yeah, definitely on that side. Look, I never had a close relationship with Bede or Donahue or anyone like that. For me, it was definitely Bart.
Wow. Okay, we're about the last question here. Now, look, do you keep in touch with anyone from Stream at all? And you do, because I know you caught up with our mate Jabba today, who I'm hoping to catch up with at a later time. Now, you and Jab still close at school too, so it's awesome that you're still keeping in touch. How was Jabba, and do you keep in touch with anyone else?
Yeah, he's the same. He's the same as he was, mate. Good yarns. He's still into his beer. And yeah, it's just great to catch up and have a brewski with him and yarn. Look, I'll just go back a little bit, right? I'm forever grateful for anyone who took time out through those last 5 years at school to either look after me on school holidays or invite me into their family as one of their own. So the Hendersons, great family, forever indebted to them. The Jablonskis, without a doubt, Henry and Helena, put massive time and effort into me. Callum Ferguson was another one as well, but Fitzy, Scotty Fitz as well, his family, random people. I see Andre Oliver got added to the group. Even he had me for I think a week during the school holidays at his place. So for me, I just want to say thanks to those families for letting me in through that 5-year period. Right, I'll forever be grateful. So you might have to ask the question again, Huge, while I try and.
No, that was a wonderful thing you mentioned there, because sometimes we forget. I mean, gee, me, the number of families that I got introduced to as well, you know, in the holidays and all the farms and places that I stayed at, and that was only through our connections at school. So good on you for recognizing that. Apart from Jabba, was there anyone else in the year group that you kept in touch with or regularly see?
Yeah, so you know, these days not so much. If I am to bump into anyone in the street, it would be Jamie, and have a good catch up with him and just see vicariously through him just how others are. So you know, I'll get an update on Aiden or Corker or Marty, Nolan, even through Jamie and Mikey Byrne as well, right? So that's probably one of the key contacts who I would reach out to every now and then and see how he's going and stuff. But on the odd occasion, you know, randomly you'll bump into someone and have a chat. But I've kind of stepped back a bit, and that's why I am so appreciative of this opportunity to get in front of everyone again, right? And say it to people's faces and have a beer with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, your video number 21. So we've got a whole bunch more. We've got a whole bunch more coming up this week, and some real blast from the past. We're going to get over to Glen Bunny over in Australia. Brilliant. You know, and a few old names. So it's really gained a bit of momentum, and you know, as you work through the vids and catch up with everyone, it'll be awesome. Now, are we going to get an opportunity, you think, to see you at the foundation dinner end of July?
Oh, I think that's 100%, man. I'll definitely be there, huge. Yeah, awesome. And totally. And I also back up what others have obviously been saying to you. You know, if there's any way we can help anyone else get there, then you know, don't let finances be an excuse. We'll help the brothers out, man.
Yeah, thanks, Feej. We're so lucky like that. We've got a really great bunch of mates that are all willing to help out in whatever way, shape or form. Well, my friend, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's just good to see you again and hear your voice. Fond memories of you, brother. I thank you for your time. We're going to get this video out to everyone tonight so they can catch up with the one and only Fiji Greg Thoms. But from us to you, my friend, take care and thank you so much. Great catching up. We'll see you end of July.
Vinaka Vaklevo, Woo!